My name's Jeremy Jones, also known as Worm. I'm a comedian, a writer, and an artist. So the first book is Reigneth. It's a sci-fi book about a young boy who learns that he becomes the savior of the universe through trials and conflict, learning different arts and magics. He becomes strong enough to take on some great challenge, but he's still curious about whether he can even overcome it. And the second book is Two Alive, which is about a man made virus that takes over half the population of the world. And because of it, a man tries to survive with two young boys in the woods. And after he passes, the two boys continue to fend for themselves using his rules. So for my first book, it was a bit of research that went into it, a lot of research actually. It was mostly all for world building and different mythologies to create a magic system. And a lot of the research did take some time, but I feel like the writing process was pretty quickly. And the same was for my second book, which also the writing process was quick, although I did do as a similar research process, but it didn't take as long because it wasn't as intricate. I could be a little bit more free-forming with how I could come up with ideas because it was in a genre that I'd already liked. Zombies and something like Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead was something I've always been into, so it didn't take much for me to get to material. Well, I've always been into movies, cartoons, and comic books, and manga, anime, video games, a lot of different media that have all told great stories over the years. And I just thought for myself, maybe I could try writing on my own. I first started writing short stories about characters who were fighting great evils or battling supervillains. And from there, it just spun into bigger stories with more dialogue, more character development. I started reading books on how to write and how to develop characters, and all of that just carried on my passion for it because I always liked seeing good stories, or reading good stories. So I just started to think I could start to create my own in some way, and it went from writing stories to creating comic books and creating comic strips that I post online to eventually writing my books that I've created. So I'm currently working on the second title to Two Alive, which will continue the story with the two boys surviving and trying to figure out how to continue surviving. My sci-fi book is also intended to be a 10-book series, so I really do intend to accomplish that. That's like a great goal of mine. And I also intend to continue my comic book work. I've been working on a comic book series called Mystic 5 for some time now, and I intend to continue developing that and spinning that off into something bigger. It's something similar to a superhero movie like Invincible. So I'm really excited about trying to get back into that. I'd like to inspire other writers to tell any stories that they have. If they have a story that they want to write, I encourage them to try writing it, because if you put some pencil to paper or type it out even, you'll eventually just start getting the ball rolling. It's just word after word and sentence after sentence, and eventually you can write something that you could be proud of, because that's how it started for me. I'd hope to inspire people to tell a story or create something, whether it be a short story or a poem or a book even. If I can inspire somebody that thinks that he did it, that I can try and give it a try, I'd love to do that.